I do not have a script for this in case you couldn't tell. Wow, the dictionary says a freelancer is a noun, a person who works freelance. Boom. Hi everyone, welcome back. If you are new here, don't worry, I haven't even introduced myself for real yet. So hi everyone, including current subscribers. Thank you for being here. I'm Taylor. I am a freelance artist. I specialize in illustration and animation, and I also own and run two businesses. One is a single LLC with myself, and then I have a partnership with two other colleagues, and we do cool stuff over there. But I've been doing freelancing for a little while now, and I had some people ask some questions, and then I thought of some questions that might be helpful. So I figured I would make this video to illuminate how the life of freelancing and owning a small business works, at least for me right now. So yeah, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. All right, so I made this little list. I'm very extra, so I typed up questions and I printed it out. So if I'm looking at that, that's what I'm doing. So the first question I wanted to address is, what does it actually mean to be a freelancer? So a freelancer is anyone who is technically considered a gig worker. So you can technically consider full-time Uber drivers or Lyft drivers. There's technically freelancers because their job is not dependent on an employer. They are out getting jobs. And I don't know if this is the exact definition. I'll look up the definition in a second. But to me, a freelancer is anyone who doesn't have like a direct employer. They're going out and they're getting jobs on their own. And then also it affects your taxes. So I have to pay a self-employment tax, which is stupid high. Don't even get me started on all like the new tax stuff they're trying to do. It pisses me off. Anyway, so people have to pay like self-employment tax. They run, they get their own jobs. They don't have an employer. We don't have benefits unless we buy them for ourselves. That's basically what a freelancer is. But let me look up the definition and I will read it verbatim. All right, freelancer definition. I do not have a script for this in case you couldn't tell. Wow, the dictionary says a freelancer is a noun, a person who works freelance. Boom. Here's a better one. A freelancer is an independent laborer who earns wages on a per job or per task basis, typically for short-term work. Benefits of freelancing include having the freedom to work from home, a flexible work schedule, and a better work-life balance. That last one can be a lie sometimes, but we will get into that. But that's the actual definition of a freelancer, so I wasn't far off. It's basically anyone who gets jobs on their own, and then it's typically short-term. So, why did I choose to be a freelancer? Well, I graduated college in 2019. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Creative Technologies, and all that means is I combine technology and art in cool ways. That's what I was taught in school, so I did a lot of like 3D modeling, but I also did graphic design, social media. It was kind of like a whole mess of things. I also did motion graphics. So yeah, any kind of art that combines technology, that's what my degree is in. And I graduated and I was like, shit, like what do I do now? I started looking for jobs, and I'm an anxious person, so I didn't find a job in like a week after graduation, so I started panicking. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be a bum. I lived at home with my mom. I don't know why. I just determined that I would live on the street if I didn't find a job within a week. But that's where my brain went. And so I was like, you know what? I think I want to try freelancing. I had heard of it in school. There were some people that graduated from my program that my advisor told me about, and they went freelance and they like traveled Europe. And I'm like, maybe I'll travel Europe. Spoiler alert, 2020 happened, so I didn't. But I decided I'm going to try freelancing. So I just like Googled how to freelance or what is freelancing, and Upwork came up. I've talked about Upwork a little bit in the past, but basically it's like a job platform that's made specifically for freelancers and small agencies. And I was like, I'm a freelance because what the hell else am I doing? I was like sitting around my house because, you know, God forbid I take a break. So I started doing little jobs. My first job was $25. I resized some images for this guy's Facebook. He was really happy with them. So yeah, I was like, yes, I'm going to be a millionaire. Someone paid me $25 for a couple seconds of my time, whatever. And then I got a couple more jobs and it started kind of flowing, but it wasn't really a lot of money. But I was like, oh, whatever, this is cool. It'll build up. But then I got a message on Facebook from a lady who was the marketing director at a small real estate agency in my town, and she was like, hey, I saw your work. We're looking for a graphic designer. Would you be interested? And I was like, sure, I'll go talk to you. So long story short, I interviewed, I got the job. I ended up being basically the lead graphic designer because the graphic designer they had did leave like shortly after I got there. And yeah, it was a cool experience. I got to learn a lot about real estate, which I love. I love HGTV. I got to learn a lot about like the housing market and deal with like realtors, which mean this in all respects to all the realtors. It seems like a really stressful job, but working with realtors is crazy. They need stuff yesterday. So I was constantly grinding. It wasn't really great for my mental health, and my physical health started to struggle as well. There were a couple other reasons that I'll get into maybe one day, but it wasn't really working well for me. So I decided after 6 months to leave, which was a really, really hard decision because I was like, this is it. Like, I can't even hold a full-time job. Like, what the heck is wrong with me? Like, how am I going to make it in art? I guess I'm not going to be an artist, but I don't know. I just didn't know what to do. So I decided to leave, coincidentally, in February 2020. 3 weeks later, on my birthday, on March 13th, the way the people say the world ended on that day, that is when the pandemic hit. So I literally quit my full-time job. 3 weeks later, the pandemic was in the US. Like, it was like everything shut down. So I was like, great, this is awesome. Luckily, I knew I wanted to try freelancing again. I just wasn't sure if I would get another job or if I would freelance. So I saved a bunch of money while I was at that job because literally it I'm trying to say this like the best way possible. Within about 3 months of being there, I knew that I wasn't super happy, and if things didn't change, I knew I was gonna have to leave. So I started saving money a lot. So I didn't save like a ton, but for me, it was enough money. So I saved like probably 4 to 6 months maybe of expenses. And again, very privileged. I live with my mother. So I didn't need to save as much, and then like the money that I did have lasted a lot longer because she was paying rent, and I had like a small office upstairs, and I can do a tour of that eventually. Hopefully today. I should tour it today because I cleaned it today. I have 2 cats, so there's normally hair everywhere, but I vacuumed everywhere. So studio tour coming soon. But yeah, so I saved up money and I left, and I haven't looked back since. I quit early February, and then I think I applied for my LLC for myself in late February, and then, like I said, the world ended, and I've just been doing it ever since. Lucky for me, I kind of had started to build up a little bit of a client base, and nothing crazy. Like, I'm definitely not making tons of money, but I make enough that I'm happy with what I'm doing, and I do want to make more so I can be more financially independent, but I think it was the right decision for me. So that was a really long explanation of why I chose to be a freelancer. I don't even think that really covers it. I just wanted to be a freelancer. I wanted the flexibility. I wanted to be able to choose what I did, and I'm not a long-term project kind of person. It's kind of my downfall. Like, I prefer to like work on little sprints of stuff because I get really overwhelmed or I get discouraged. I'm like, oh my God, this is so long. Like, I don't know how like animation studios do it because that was my original intent. Like, I wanted to go work at Disney. Who doesn't at some point in their life if they're an artist? But I was like, I'm gonna work on the next Frozen, and then I was like, oh my God, it takes them 6 years, and like that's probably just being nice. Like, it probably takes them longer just to do one thing, and I'm like, I just don't think I could like animate hair for 6 years. Like, I just don't know if I could do that, and that's fine. So freelancing was cool because I was like, I could do a job in a week and make pretty good money, and then get a new job in a week. The scary part though is you might not find a new job in a week. So that's always a toss up, but that's definitely why I chose to be freelance, for my own mental health, and then also so I could take breaks. Like, I didn't have to take a client the next week if I was like mentally struggling, because at the time I was going through a lot of gastrointestinal issues when I was at my other job, to the point that like I went into work one day, I got there and I immediately had to call my doctor, and she's like, go to the ER. And it ended up being, I was fine, but it was just really scary. Long story short, again, I think they still don't really figure it out, so they basically just diagnosed me with IBS. I still think something else is wrong, but we can't figure it out. And it's calmed down since I've had a more calm lifestyle, more like freedom kind of thing, where I'm not like stressed as hard because I can make my own decisions. So again, it was good for my health to freelance. It's not good for my mental health in other ways though, because I'm like money struggles and business struggles. But overall, I think it's been a lot more healthy for me to be a freelancer. And I'm gonna check and make sure that my camera is still running because I don't trust that bitch. Kind of answer this question. I'll make this answer short. How long have I been freelancing? So in February of next year, it will be 2 years that I have been freelancing. I started my business in February, and then I started my other business, Aperture, which is the partnership, in May. So both of those are kind of new little babies. And so yeah, 2 years, almost. All right, how do you find clients or jobs as a freelancer? So I started finding jobs from Upwork. After I got on Upwork, though, I was like, well, my artwork needs to be out there, obviously. So I already had an art Instagram, but I got a little more serious about it. And then I put my artwork on Behance, which I never use, but whatever, it's there. I made sure I updated stuff on LinkedIn, like, hi, I'm a freelancer. And like, I think I got one job from LinkedIn, but like, basically putting yourself on numerous platforms that people can find you. So like, I'm obviously on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Skillshare. That's just like one of my streams, like income streams. Where else am I? I'm on Behance, I've been on Dribble, Upwork. You do not have to run all these platforms. I only focus on 3 to 4. So there's YouTube, which I do twice a month when it's a good month. Then I do Instagram. I try to do at least once a week. Then Facebook and Pinterest. I just post whatever I posted on Instagram on Facebook and Pinterest. And it's stupid, but I have 107 followers on Pinterest, and that makes me excited. I'm like, that's cool. Never thought I'd get like followers on Pinterest. And so yeah, just getting yourself out there. That's kind of how I find work now. I don't really go through Upwork as much. I find clients by referrals. I'm being very clear with like what kind of work I want. So like I work more specifically targeting children's brands, or brands that focus on marketing to parents who have children. That's mostly just because I love drawing cute stuff. And, Andy J. Pease has talked about this in one of his creative pep talk episodes, but like if I draw really cute stuff, maybe brands that are meant for adults, like, he did like an alcohol brand, and they're like, this alcohol looks like it's for kids, because that's what his style looks like. And I was like, my style is very much for kids or parents or people who like kawaii cute stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to be like designing tobacco, cigarette, whatever labels. That's just not not for me. So that's why I've kind of like niched down, which I was scared to do. But I've more niched down into like children's focused and children's targeted brands. So that's what I work on now. And that's kind of how I find jobs. So like I recently was talking to a lady, and she owns a crib company. Like they make crib sheets. And turns out she worked with my other clients. So that's like a referral that I can get. And we've already talked about like working together in the future. So when you find like your little people, they all talk to each other. So that's how I've been finding jobs now. And also, I'm making a lot more money on Skillshare. It's been a goal of mine to like amp up my Skillshare income. So I want to phase out clients to the point that I'm only taking on maybe one a month or even less, kind of taking on what I want. So Skillshare has been like what I've been focusing on mostly right now, at least. So. All right, so the next one is how many income streams do I have? So I have Skillshare, and I'm just going to be transparent with you and break down these numbers, because I hate when people are like, ooh, guard the freelancing, blah, blah. Like, no. I like the demystifying, like how much are people actually making. So Skillshare, I've had a good couple of past months, and I'll put like the actual like estimates next to me, because I'm doing this off the top of my head. When I edit, I'll look and tell you for sure. Skillshare, I make anywhere from like 150 to like a really good month, I'm making $300 a month. My part-time job, which I mentioned, so like I have a part-time contract job, but it's basically just a gig job anyway. Like it's taxed, but I don't have benefits. It's like a freelance gig job that's like long term. So that one, I think I make maybe like a good month. I make like $900 a month from that. From client work, I make generally client work's kind of like all over the place. So client work from my personal LLC, I make anywhere from like $100, like low level, to $600 a month from that. And then my other business, Aperture, that I run with a partnership, we probably only make like $100 a month if I like divided it up how much we make. But we have really cool clients, cough cough, the Smithsonian. So that's been really awesome. But some like good months, I'll make like $300 from that. And I think that's all my income streams. I want to monetize YouTube eventually, and I'm trying to get on Creative Market to sell stuff. But right now, I have 4 major income streams, and they're still like pretty minor. Like I'm not making buckets of money, but I make enough to sustain myself. And some months I can only pay myself a little bit. Like the other month, just from my business, personal business, not from my like part-time job, because that's kind of like floating me right now. I paid myself $50, like straight up, just being honest. I told my friend this the other day. She's also a freelancer, and she's like, "Damn, thank you for being honest, because I totally only paid myself $100." And that's like I have to pay taxes on that too, and that's where I get frustrated. So like if I make $500 from a client and then I use Upwork, who takes 20%. I have a video on why that makes me mad. But say Upwork takes 20%, I made $500, they take 20%, then I have to give the government anywhere from 20 to 35% of that, and then I have to pay any bills that the business has, and then I can pay myself. I've been reading the book Profit First, so I can like rework that system. But right now, just to keep things afloat, I don't make a ton of money from my personal LLC. Again, while I'm trying to get into more passive income. So like Skillshare, I have to put a lot of work into it, but that's still passive income in the long term, because I have 3 classes up now and they constantly bring me at least a little bit of money. I think the lowest I've ever made on Skillshare is probably $50. Like I don't typically go lower than $50 a month. And right now, the main goal of it is to pay for this studio. So if I'm making over $175 a month from Skillshare, great, because that's going to be taxed, but whatever. It covers the base level of this studio. So yes. Sorry if these answers are way too long-winded. I have a feeling editing Taylor's going to hate this, but I'm hoping that this video is helpful. Please give it a thumbs up if it's helpful. And I always forget to do this, but please subscribe if you like this video, because I'm definitely hoping to make more content like this. And I already have a lot of content up of like studio vlogs and whatnot. The next question is, what does my daily schedule look like? That varies pretty heavily. I have a meeting almost every day, which I don't love, but it's just where we're at right now. So my part-time job, I have meetings for that, and then I have other like client work and stuff I have to do. So my day-to-day schedule changes pretty wildly. I've been trying to get off at 4 o'clock, so I'll start work at like 8:30 or 9, and then I take like a 30-minute to an hour lunch, and then if I have to run any errands, that's the point of freelancing, so I will. I haven't had time to run errands recently. Like last week was a little overwhelming. I was working till like 6 or 8 every night. Again, it's Saturday and I'm filming this, which YouTube's more of a passion for me, but like this still technically counts as work because I'm hoping it'll turn into monetization eventually. But yeah, so my daily schedule basically varies super wildly, and I can do a whole breakdown video of that. I'm generally starting in the morning with something creative, and then I'll do admin stuff in the middle of the day, and like my meetings normally fall in the middle of the day, and then I'll do more creative stuff, and then normally at night, like for my new shop launch, you should go check it out. I just launched my Halloween collection. Anyway, for my shop launch, I told you guys, my camera did me dirty. I answered like 3 questions, and it was turned off. New camera. If you want to donate to the Taylor Needs a New Camera Fund, hit me up. All right. So I partially answered what my daily schedule looks like. I'm not going to go re-answer that question because I think I got enough footage for that. Again, I can always make a more in-depth video about like I did a day in the life on my first vlog, so I can do a day in the life of freelancing just to show you how my schedule works for that. The next question, which I already answered, camera, is how do you take vacation or sick days? So I used to be bad at this. So when we went to the beach a while ago, I didn't have enough time to like rack up some hours on some projects before we left, particularly like the part-time contract work that helps like give me a little bit more money. So I didn't have time right before we left to like work heavily on that. So when we got back, I got a paycheck of like nothing and I cried. Um, so I've learned my lesson. If you just watched the last vlog, my travel vlog, we went to Disney, and what I did was I have an allotted amount of hours that I can work on my contract job, and then my other jobs that maybe don't make as much money, like they don't bring in so much of a paycheck. Like Skillshare, I can't really be like, I'm gonna work really hard on Skillshare this week and make extra money. Like I can like promote classes and stuff, but Skillshare is more like building classes and it like takes time, whereas my other jobs it's like a more of an hourly rate and they tax me, like they tax it through their system. So what I did is I worked the like total amount of allotted hours that I could fit in, and that I'm allowed to do on that job. And so when I went on vacation, I didn't work all week, but when I got back, I had a good paycheck because I worked double than what I normally do. And that's particular to my situation. But the main thing and like advice I would give is just make sure that you're thinking about, okay, I'm taking off for a week. How can I make extra money this last week before I take off? So when I get back, I'm not like screwed, because I definitely screwed myself when we went to the beach and I came back and it was very frustrating and like hard. And you can also start a vacation fund. That's something I want to get to, is like, paid time off for myself. But I'm not at that point yet, so I can't do that yet. But I definitely recommend like putting money aside or having a big enough personal savings that if you do need to take time off or you want to take a vacation because you deserve one, to do that. Another thing I'll do is take like small vacations. So like I'll take like a day off and go to Roanoke with like my mom or my boyfriend, and like I'll be like, this is such a vacation, and like it's not really, but it is. Like you just take the little things into consideration and be like, wow, I had such a nice little vacation where we went like 20 minutes to the next town and went to the mall. So that's one way to like get kind of like your mental headspace back, is to take just small vacations if you can't afford to take larger ones. As far as sick days, we've had the pandemic, so I've luckily been very fortunate to not be sick, but it was also because I was just anxious and I didn't really leave the house. We masked up way before there was a mask mandate. I saw other people wearing masks in other countries. I'm like, hell no, we're wearing masks now. My mom fought me because I was like walking in the grocery store like late February with our masks on, and she's like, oh, we really gotta wear these. No one else is wearing these. I'm like, yep, we're wearing these. So we've been very fortunate that everyone in my family's been healthy, so we haven't gotten anything. And then with the masks, like we haven't had any like sick days so much because we haven't really been around people. So long story short, haven't really had a sick day and that I've had to deal with crazily. I have had like my wisdom teeth surgery, and I did the same thing with like my vacation time, is like I worked extra to account for the time that I'd be off, money-wise. And then even if you can't do that, like I said, if you have a savings of just like a little bit of extra money that can float you in case something were to happen or you need to take off, then that's probably the best way to deal with that. Also, if I feel bad in like the morning, I work like upstairs. Like it's like not even like, I don't even know, like a couple stairs up up from my room is my office. So what I'll do is like if I feel bad in the morning, then I'll normally chill all morning and take it easy. And then I normally feel good by like the middle of the day normally, because it's normally like allergies or something. But yeah, if I take it easy in the morning, I can normally kind of get back to work in the evening. And I don't punish myself like I'm like, you didn't work all day, so you have to work all evening. No, it's just like if I feel bad for a couple hours in the morning, then I'll just chill. And then if I still kind of feel not great, but I feel a lot better, then I'll draw on my bed because I can. Whereas if you work like an office job, like maybe you can't do that. So yeah, that's normally how I handle like sick days or vacation. I put this question here. I didn't know how to answer it, but I already answered it because the camera died and I answered the question. So now I know how to say it better. How do you stay motivated? This one's really hard for me sometimes, but I'm starting to realize that like having your own business, everything you do compounds itself in some way. And that doesn't mean like my business is going to make it. There's still always a possibility that I'm going to fail, but there's a possibility that every business is going to fail. And like I tell people, because they're like, oh God, what if it doesn't work? I'm like, I'm the CEO, so if it's not going to work, like, I'm going to know first, and, like, I don't have any other employee to tell but myself, whereas, like, I was telling my mom, I was like, if your company decides to file for bankruptcy, they could currently be doing that, and, like, they could, like, fire everyone, and you have no idea, and, like, not to say that's, like, any shit against companies, but, like, I'm, like, directly tapped into what's happening in my business, so, like, I know what's selling, I know what's working, I know what's not working. Generally, you kind of get in your own head, but if the business closes tomorrow is what I'm saying. If I decide to just close shop tomorrow, I'll be the first to know because I'm the only one. So that's generally how I kind of stay motivated, and knowing that like anything I do is building up myself and my business, and I am in charge, and it's terrifying but also awesome. Because I'm not like waiting for anyone to tell me like what my future is going to look like. Like I know what I want, and I know that I can work to get there, and I'm going to get there in some capacity or in some way. So even if Taylor Carroll LLC fails, and I talked about this with my boyfriend the other day. So say like I have to close shop tomorrow because I just couldn't do it anymore. The money wasn't there and it wasn't working. I could go get a normal job anywhere, or even an art job. Like I have skills. Like I can go get an art job. I have a degree, and work that art job for a couple years, and then try again. But yeah, so I can go get another job and then try that, and then try Taylor Carroll LLC again and see if it works. And maybe it'll work better the second time. Like I don't know. So yeah, that's how I stay motivated, just knowing that like everything I do is like building on itself, and even if I fail, like yeah, it's gonna knock a little off the top, but I still learned something. Like my first shop update, nothing sold. I think I sold like one thing to my grandma. Thank you, Grandma. Love you. She still always buys like one thing every shop update. I love it. But it just didn't work, and I was like, okay, but I learned how to like make product photos, and like I learned a lot. And now this shop update, my most recent one, which again you should go check out, link below, it's a lot better, and I've already sold a lot more, and I'm not selling tons, but I'm still selling more than I was, so that's cool. So like I'll just keep building, and I feel like some of the stuff didn't work this time, and I'll try a different way next time. Like, so I think that's the most trying to be succinct reason as to why I can stay motivated. It's just I'm building, and even my failures might take me back, but I still learned something, and it's adding to the foundation. So that is how I stay motivated. I put this question in here because I like to be transparent, and it also might be helpful. But I put, what is your hourly rate? So currently it'll fluctuate, but I charge anywhere from $35 to $45 an hour depending on the project and the client. I definitely recommend looking into forgot what it is, the Graphic Guild, whatever. I have that book. That one's really helpful because hourly rates aren't always great. Sometimes doing like a project-based rate. So like if I did like a children's book, which I so want to do, like please universe, I'm trying to find a way to do a children's book right now. But if I did a children's book, I wouldn't charge them an hourly rate. That's kind of weird. That's not typical practice, and the way that value I add into it. And then like if I want like licensing and like that kind of stuff and copyright, then that's all kinds of weird stuff. So that would be like a base rate, and I don't have a number to give you. But like if it's a job that makes sense to do hourly, I will do $35 to $45 an hour. And then if it's a job that makes sense to price it out, then I'll do the research and I'll price it out. For my other business, which I'm not fully talking about, but like might as well tell you, there's 3 of us. So we work with pretty large clients. And we charge anywhere from $65 to $85 an hour. And again, that'll grow as we learn more. You definitely need to change your rate as you learn. And keep in mind that like if your rate's $35 an hour and you're using Upwork or like another platform that takes some money, here, I'm going to do the math. Let's do the math. I hope my camera's still recording. I don't trust it. I'm sorry, I have the sniffles now. I was just talking about how I don't get sick. Okay, so if I have $35 an hour, you probably can't see that, and I take off 20%, that's already $7 off. So like that's if the the platform charges me that much. So that's $28 an hour. Then I have to pay, and I'm going to do high this time, but I pay anywhere from 20 to 35% on self-employment tax. So that's another 30%. So that's $8.40. So we are at 28 and then take $8.40. I think that's what I said. So that's already $19.06. And then I have to pay business stuff. So like if I have licensing, or if I have I use Adobe, you gotta pay for that. I gotta pay for rent for this place. Like there's a bunch of other stuff I have to keep money in the business for. So I'm not really taking home $19.16. Like all the time. Like sometimes I'm only taking home $10 an hour. And that's if I can pay myself. Like if stuff's just really tight, then I can't always pay myself that much. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking of your hourly rate. You want to think about like what value do you add to the client, but also like what do you need to live straight up? Like if you need like $50 an hour to live, like yeah, check the industry standards and make sure like you're not like astronomically blown out of proportion, but like really think about what you need. And then also, if you live in an area that's expensive, then you're going to need to charge more, period. I live in a small town. I can charge a little less. I live with my mother. So that helps. Thank you, Mom. So I can charge less. So yeah, keep that all into consideration. But I did want to share with you just for transparency my hourly rate. So I have one more question, but I'm going to check my camera because I don't trust her. All right, thank you if you stuck around this long. We're on our final question and kind of wrap it all up. Would you recommend freelancing to someone else? 100%. And I say that with a grain of salt just because it's not for everyone. And it's a slow burn. I get in my head a lot about it, but I've only been doing it for 2 years on both businesses, and I really am not making the income levels that I would like to be making. Like, I think my first year in business, and again, I'll check and I'll put it up on the screen. My first year in business, I think I only made, I'm probably being generous too with myself, like $5,000, like profit. And again, I'll go back and look at my numbers and share them with you guys. But like, if you need to make like $35K to support your family and do your things, consider things differently. I graduated college. I had a job I didn't like. I was living with my mother, currently still am. I didn't have rent. I don't have children. I have 2 cats, but like that's fine. So I could decide, okay, I'm going to try this out. And it's still working for me. I want to make more money, obviously, and I have an income that I'd like to hit. Like I'd like to hit my income that I was making before I became a freelancer at least. But just really consider, is this possible for you? And if it is, go for it. Like I love being a freelancer. It's very stressful, but I've learned a lot about myself. I've met a lot of wonderful people. Doesn't mean you can't meet those people, but like I've met so many freelancer friends who we connect on like a deep level because we both understand what it's like to run a business, and we can have really deep conversations on what it's like to like just have this like thing that's yours and you built it and it's terrifying and it's awesome, and it's like you're like, oh, you want to run away, but then you're like, it's all kinds of emotions. Another thing that I would recommend, like, yes, I recommend this lifestyle of freelancing to anybody, especially with the way remote work is now. Like, dude, if you can just remote work somewhere that you love, hell yeah, yes, do that. That wasn't an option when I went freelance, and I like freelancing now. But another thing to consider is, can you start freelancing on the side? Because I was starting to do that before I quit my other job. And again, like I said, I saved money. I like put money up, but like if you can hustle on the side, like in the evenings or like in the mornings, whenever you have time to start building up a client base and see where you get to before you take the leap into freelance, do that too if you're more comfortable with that. I kind of just felt like I had to jump because I wasn't happy. I was struggling mentally and physically, and I just needed to go, and I had the resources and the support that I needed to go. And it's definitely different for everybody's situation, but long story short, which is this whole video, long story short, I 110% recommend freelancing to anybody who's interested in it. I would be happy to answer any of your questions and continue making videos like this if you like them, about like my experience and what it's been like to be a freelancer, because I definitely love running my own business. it's a lot, but it's a lot of fun as well. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I want to start doing more talking videos because there's a lot of YouTubers that I watch that like literally just sit and talk in front of the camera, and I love it. So let's pop it up and do work. Please let me know if this is helpful. Again, please give this a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. You can check out my other videos. They'll be linked in various places. And yeah, I just really appreciate you all, and I hope, again, that this content is helpful, and that you got something out of it or answered some of the questions that you might have if you're considering being a freelancer. My inbox is always open, as well as other comments, so feel free to hit me up. I love being a teacher, and it's like one of my jobs, so I love teaching. So I'm definitely open to answering any questions. I don't know what I'm getting at with that, but basically talk to me, please. I'm lonely. So yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!